السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. It is wonderful. We are in the Midlands today. Really, it's like another occasion. We get together face to face, we communicate. And another occasion, millions around the world are watching us. Today, we are here to talk about the greatest man ever walked on this earth, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's not me saying it. That's researchers like Alan Hart, when he said, I looked at all personalities, thinkers, philosophers, prophets, leaders, emperors. I've never found a great man like Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Today, I was reading the last sermon of Prophet Muhammad, and I can't keep my tears just by reading it. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in his early life, if we take the beginning and the end, we take the two ends of his life. The beginning of his message, as it is narrated by his wife Khadija radiallahu anha, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he first ever met Angel Gabriel, Jibreel, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in his early life, he started looking and enjoying being by himself. And one day he decided to stay alone in the cave of Hira. The Prophet ﷺ was there, and suddenly Angel Gabriel came. The Prophet ﷺ never seen angels before. He doesn't know he is an angel. The Prophet ﷺ was surprised to see such a creature he never seen before. And the creature tells him, Iqra, read. The Prophet ﷺ says, Ma ana biqari. I'm not a reader. I can't read. I can't write. He said, read. He said, and being started shivering. He said, Ma ana biqara. I'm not a reader. And he repeated it for the third time. And he said, Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. خلق الإنسان من علق. اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم. Read in the name of your Lord, who taught mankind by the pen. The Prophet ﷺ, after this first encounter, didn't come down to Mecca, happy, clappy, hi, I am a prophet now. He was shivering, went straight to his wife. And he said, Oh Khadija, this is what happened to me. Can I have more blankets on top of me? He's shivering, frightened. And look what Khadija told him. And this is a lesson what the righteous woman would be beside her husband. Khadija told him, Oh Muhammad, you are a good man. You are the man who helps the poor. You are a man of good deeds. You are a man who always says the truth. You are as-sadiq al-amin. You are the trustworthy. You are the truthful. Look at Khadija, the attributes she reminded her husband Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam of. She didn't tell him, you always pray. You pray day and night. You have a very long beard. You have a qamis that is halfway between your knees and your ankle. She said, none of that. She said to him, you are a good man. and took him to her cousin, Waraq ibn Nawfal. So when they went to Waraq ibn Nawfal, he told him, "Oh Muhammad, tell me, what did you see?" The Prophet ﷺ started describing. He said to him, "That's Angel Gabriel, who came to prophets before you. That's a sign you are a prophet." Because Angel Gabriel didn't tell him you are a prophet. He said to him, "Iqra," that's the first encounter. Read. And they carried on explaining to him, and he said to him, "Oh Muhammad, be prepared. You are gonna be kicked out of this town." He said, "Really? Would that happen to me? I've never harmed any person. Would that happen to me?" He said, "Unfortunately, yes. That would happen to you. And I wish I'm around so I can stand by you at that time." The Prophet ﷺ went back, and the story is long. Fast forward to his last days. His last days is the Werfel sermon. The Prophet ﷺ stood in the valley of Arafah and he said, "O mankind, Ya ayyuhan nas." If you read the Quran, you find appeals. Some of them they say, "O mankind," other than they say, "O believers." But most, if you read the Quran, the appeal is to mankind. That's why the definition of Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we have to understand it well. There are two kinds of Ummah of Muhammad. Ummah of Dawah, and that's all mankind. Every single person walking on this earth, ever walked on this earth, would ever walk on this earth, is from the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. His message concerns that person. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was with a group of 114,000 of his companions in Hajj for his last sermon, but his appeal was saying, "O mankind." He didn't say, "Oh, who you believe or those who attended here." لعلي لا ألقاكم بعد عامي هذا. He said, "Lend me your attention and your ears. I'm going to say something so important. For I may not see you again. We may not get together again." And this is, brothers and sisters, something we have to always think about. When you bury someone, you have to know you are next. We all have tickets. We all. But just the departure is different. Somehow, we don't know our time of departure. But for sure, we have our tickets to depart. The Prophet ﷺ was concerned, mankind. He said, "Kullukum li Adam wa Adam min turab." He started with the start of mankind. All of you are descendants of Adam. It has been proven, in this room now. Do you know that every single one of us here in this beautiful hall is related to every single one here? Somewhere up there we have the same ancestor, the same great-great-great-grandfather. It has been proven. He said, "I may not see you again. Do not harm each other. Be kind to women and give them their rights as you have rights over them. They have rights over you." And he carried on and on, the Prophet ﷺ. And even the prayers is only a passing by passage. He talked about the prayer, Hajj, and fasting. But most of his speech he dedicated of telling us, I may not be here next year. I'm going, you are going to follow me. We are going to meet all of us there. Be aware of what is going to happen to us. That's the last sermon of Muhammad. Kind. Then in between, in his message, once he was asked, who is the most beloved to God? Again, is he the one who prays late at night? I'm not by any means undermining praying tahajjud or anything. That's very good deeds. May Allah make us able to do so, or fasting. But the answer of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, the best of you in the eyes of Allah are the most merciful and useful and helpful to mankind. That's the most beloved to Allah. That's why the message of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is a message to mankind. That's why we always say it is a universal message. That's why in this day and age and time, the message of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is more needed than any time before. It is, brothers and sisters, up for us to present it in the nicest way. But the problem is, we are not. In fact, we are presenting some kind of culture, some kind of tribal relations which we inherited from our ancestors, and we are promoting it as if it is the right version of Islam. It is not. We have to go back to the clean, clear message of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as he said, I'm leaving behind. I may go, but his message will continue. I'm leaving behind the book of Allah, the Quran, and my sunnah, my tradition. If you ever follow them, you will never go astray. That's what the message of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that's why, brothers and sisters, we have to go back to fundamentals of the message of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam presented. Mankind in this day and age are in absolute need of the message of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I can see around us today quite few speakers who will be speaking here, and what they have in common, they are converts. I can say something. The best of our ummah are the companions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and all the companions were converts or reverts to Islam. It is time Islam gets out of the culture and become as it used to be and as have been always a message, a universal message for all mankind. Jazakumullah khair for listening, and thank you for coming. And for those watching us online or on TV, we are here from Birmingham. We give you all our salams. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.